My fiancée announced, "We're postponing the wedding until you agree to have my name host us Reddit stories." The words hit like ice water. "We're postponing the wedding until you agree to have my name on everything you own." I looked at her, steady, calm. That's a reasonable boundary. Then I picked up my phone and called the venue. By the time I hung up, the $15,000 deposit was mine alone, rerouted for a celebration of one. 3 days later, her mother's lawyer sent the demand letter. I'm Ian, 33, 3 months out from what I thought was forever with Natalie, 31, 2 years together, 8 months engaged. I thought we were solid. I was wrong. Here's what mattered. I owned my house. $285,000 6 years ago, paid off last year. I held 15% of my family's logistics company, built by my father, run by my brother and me, worth roughly $900,000 on paper. My car was paid off. Retirement looked good. Not wealthy, but stable. Comfortable, safe. Natalie worked as a dental hygienist, pulled in $58,000 a year, rented an apartment, chipped away at student loans. We talked about her moving in after the wedding. It made sense. I thought it made sense. Last Thursday we were at my place, sorting through RSVPs. 200 guests, the venue locked in. Her parents had kicked in $7,000 toward the $22,000 total. I'd covered the other 15. Deposits everywhere, all signed, all committed. She set down her wine glass. "Ian, I've been thinking. I need my name on the house before the wedding." I glanced up from the screen. "What?" "The house and the car. And your stake in the company. Everything should be in both our names. It's only fair if we're getting married." I stared. "Natalie, we're not even married yet. Why would I?" "Because marriage is about partnership, sharing everything. If you really loved me, you'd want me to feel secure. You'll feel secure after we're married. We can talk about things then. But I'm not signing over assets I earned before we even—" "Before what? Before me? So I'm just supposed to move into your house, ride around in your car, live off your money with no legal protection?" "You'd have legal protection. It's called marriage. Community property." Her voice went flat. "Not good enough, Ian. I won't be some second-class citizen in my own marriage. Either you put my name on everything, or we're postponing the wedding until you see reason." The ultimatum hung in the air, thick and final. "Let me get this straight," I said slowly. "You want your name on my house, my car, and my business stake, assets worth over $1 million that I built before we even met. Or you're calling off the wedding." "I'm not calling it off, just postponing, until you understand what marriage means." There was something rehearsed in her tone, practiced, like she'd run this scene before stepping on stage. "Wow," I said. That's really a reasonable boundary you're setting there, Nat. Really reasonable." She smiled, missing it entirely. "I'm glad you understand. My mom said you'd fight me on this, but I knew." "Your mom?" "Yeah, we've been discussing it. She thinks I should protect myself. Her divorce from my dad was messy because she had nothing in her name. She doesn't want that for me." "Ah, this wasn't Natalie's idea. This was Diane's." "Right," I said. "Well, since we're postponing the wedding, I should probably handle some logistics." "Thank you, baby." She kissed my cheek, picked up her wine again, as casual as if she'd asked me to pick up milk. I excused myself. Went to my office, made 3 calls. First, my lawyer buddy Kevin. I explained. He laughed, then he stopped laughing. "Dude, do not put her name on anything. That's insane. If you break up, she owns half your stuff without ever being married." Agreed. Second, my brother. Heads up, Natalie's asking for her name on my steak. Obviously not happening, but you should know in case she tries anything. Third, the wedding venue. Hi, this is Ian Whitmore. I have a reservation for October 12th, the Whitmore-Keller wedding. There's been a change. The bride wants to postpone indefinitely. I'd like to transfer the reservation and the $15,000 deposit currently held under both names to my name only. For a solo celebrations party. Same date, same package. Can we do that? Long pause. Typing sounds. Mr. Whitmore, typically our policy, I paid the entire deposit. I can provide proof. The bride just indicated she's postponing indefinitely. I'd still like to use the venue and services I paid for. More silence. Let me speak with my manager. Can I call you back? Sure. 20 minutes later, they confirmed. Since I'd paid in full and could prove it, they'd transfer everything to my name exclusively. The $15,000 stayed with the venue, applied to my event. I just needed to sign new paperwork. Perfect, I'll be there tomorrow. Friday morning, I drove to the venue and signed. By afternoon, the reservation was mine, exclusively. I sent Natalie a text. You said we're postponing the wedding until I meet your terms. I respect your boundary. I've moved the venue reservation to my name only since I paid for it. You're welcome to make new plans when you're ready. Also, I think we should take a break while you figure out what you want. Don't contact me unless it's to pick up your stuff. She called 16 times. I declined everyone. Saturday morning, Diane showed up at my door. Ian, we need to talk about this nonsense. Good morning, Diane. Don't good morning me. You canceled my daughter's wedding. I didn't cancel anything. She postponed it indefinitely. I just rearranged my finances accordingly. You stole the venue deposit. I paid for the venue deposit. I redirected my own money for an event in my name. That's not theft. You're punishing her for having boundaries. No, I'm respecting her boundaries. She said she won't marry me until I put her name on everything I own. That's not happening. So there's no wedding, pretty simple. Diane's face flushed purple. You selfish, controlling. Diane, you need to leave, now. She stomped to her car. As she peeled out, she screamed through the window, You'll be hearing from our lawyer. 4 days later, the demand letter arrived. Certified mail. Hastings and Associates, attorneys at law. 3 pages of legal posturing demanding immediate return of the $15,000 deposit, split 50-50. $7,000 reimbursement to Natalie's parents for their contribution to a wedding that would not occur due to my unilateral decision. $5,000 in compensation for emotional distress, and a formal apology. Total demand, $17,500. Plus groveling. I called Kevin. Dude, you've got to see this. I sent him a photo. He called back 2 minutes later laughing. This is the most garbage demand letter I've ever seen. They have 0 standing. You paid the deposit. She broke off the engagement. Her parents' contribution was a gift. Emotional distress, please. I'll draft a response. Kevin's response was surgical, professional, devastating. He laid out the facts. I paid the deposit in full. Natalie announced an indefinite postponement contingent on asset transfer, which I declined. Her parents' contribution was a gift, legally irrevocable. The emotional distress claim was frivolous. No funds would be remitted. Further baseless demands would be met with a harassment claim. He sent it certified mail Wednesday. Then the real chaos began. Natalie's sister Brooke called Thursday morning. Ian, what is wrong with you? Natalie's devastated. Hi, Brooke. Don't hi Brooke me. You're throwing away 2 years over money. I'm not throwing away anything. Your sister demanded I put her name on assets worth over $1 million before we're even married. or she'd postpone the wedding. I said no. That's it. She just wants to feel secure. You're being unreasonable. Brooke, would you marry someone and immediately put their name on everything you own? Pause. That's different. How? Because you're the man. You're supposed to take care of her. I actually laughed. Taking care of someone doesn't mean handing them ownership of everything you've built. That's not marriage. That's robbery with a ceremony. You're disgusting. Click. Friday, things escalated. My bank called. Someone had tried to add themselves as a joint account holder on my checking account using forged documents. Can you tell me who? I asked the fraud department. I can't disclose details, but the documents showed a signature purporting to be yours, requesting addition of a Natalie Keller to the account. We flagged it because the signature didn't match and you hadn't contacted us. My blood went cold. I did not authorize that. That's fraud. I want to file a police report. We'll freeze any further access attempts. You should definitely file a report. I went straight to the police station, filed for attempted identity fraud, got a case number. Then I checked my credit. Recent inquiries showed someone had tried to open a joint credit card in both our names. Also flagged, also not me. I called Kevin. She's trying to forge joint accounts. That's identity fraud. Document everything. This actually helps you if they push further, shows intent to access your finances without permission. Saturday, Natalie showed up. First time I'd seen her since the ultimatum, she looked wrecked. Good. Ian, please, can we talk? No. Just 5 minutes. Against my better judgment, fine, 5 minutes. You can't come inside. We stood on my porch. I'm sorry, she started. I shouldn't have given you an ultimatum. I was scared, and my mom got in my head. Can we please just forget this and move forward? So, you'll drop the demand for your name on everything? Well, I still think it's fair, but we can discuss it after the wedding. We don't have to do it before. Natalie, someone tried to add you to my bank account using forged documents. Someone tried to open a joint credit card in our names. Was that you? Her face drained. That wasn't. My mom thought. Your mom tried to commit identity fraud using my information. She was just trying to help, to show you how easy it would be to share things. By committing a crime? Are you insane? Don't call me insane. We're getting married. It shouldn't be fraud if we're engaged. Natalie, we're not engaged anymore. The wedding's off, permanently. You tried to steal from me. I didn't steal anything. It's not stealing if... Get off my property. If you or your mother contact me again, I'm adding her to the police report for identity fraud. Leave. Ian, please, leave. She left sobbing. I didn't care. 2 weeks later, Natalie's dad, Frank, called. He was usually the reasonable one. Ian, this has gone too far. Let's all sit down and talk this through. Frank, your wife committed identity fraud. Your daughter demanded ownership of my assets as a condition of marriage. There's nothing to discuss. Diane made a mistake. She's apologized. And Natalie, look, she's young. She got scared. Women need security. Women need security, or con artists need assets. Long pause. That's harsh. Is it? Frank, be honest. Did you know about any of this? The demand? The forged documents? Longer pause. Diane mentioned helping Natalie feel more secure financially. Did she mention how? Did she tell you she was forging bank documents with my signature? Silence. Frank, I liked you. You've always been decent to me, but your wife manipulated your daughter into trying to steal from me, and when I said no, she tried to commit fraud. I filed a police report. If Diane contacts me again, I'm pressing charges. Tell her. Ian, I'm done. I'm sorry this happened. I really am. But I'm done. I hung up. The following week, I did something petty, beautifully, satisfyingly petty. I kept the venue reservation for October 12th, invited my friends and family, 50 people, sent invitations. You're invited to celebrate Ian Whitmore's Independence Day. October 12th, 7 p.m. Dinner, drinks, and dancing to commemorate freedom from manipulation. Dress code, whatever makes you feel powerful. My brother thought it was hilarious. My parents were concerned but supportive. My friends showed up with bells on. The venue coordinator called 2 days before. Mr. Whitmore, we've been contacted by a Diane Keller claiming you're using venue services meant for her daughter's wedding. The services I paid for and transferred to my name, legally. Yes, she's quite upset, threatened to protest outside the venue during your event. If she shows up and causes a disturbance, call the police. I have a restraining order pending for the identity fraud case. Understood. Just wanted to give you a heads up. October 12th arrived. The party was perfect. Open bar, catered dinner, DJ. My best man gave a speech about recognizing red flags before investing in a sinking ship. Everyone laughed, we danced, we celebrated. And yeah, Diane showed up. She stood outside with a homemade sign. This man stole my daughter's wedding. Venue security asked her to leave. She refused. They called the cops. 2 officers arrived. She started screaming about me being a thief, about her daughter's broken heart, about the money she'd contributed. One of my groomsmen recorded the whole thing from inside. The cops asked if she had a legitimate reason to be on private property. She didn't. They asked her to leave. She refused. They arrested her for trespassing and disturbing the peace. From inside, we watched through the windows as she was put in the back of a patrol car, still screaming. My brother raised his glass. To dodging bullets. Everyone toasted. Best $15,000 I ever spent. It's been 6 weeks since the party. Here's where everything landed. The identity fraud case moved forward. Diane hadn't just tried once. Police found she'd attempted to forge documents 3 separate times. The bank account, the credit card, and a third attempt to add Natalie's name to my house title through a fraudulent quitclaim deed she'd submitted to the county recorder's office. The county caught it because the signature was noticeably wrong, and they called me to verify. I had no idea until the detective told me during the investigation. Diane was charged with 3 counts of identity fraud and 1 count of attempted theft by deception. Her lawyer tried to argue she was acting in her daughter's best interests and didn't understand the legal ramifications. The judge wasn't buying it. She pleaded guilty to avoid trial, got 18 months probation, 200 hours community service, ordered to pay restitution for my legal fees, $3,800, and mandatory counseling. If she violates probation, she does jail time. Frank filed for divorce. Apparently, this wasn't the first time Diane had pulled something like this. She'd forged his signature on loan documents years ago without telling him. He'd buried it to keep the family together, but this was his breaking point. He apologized to me privately, said he should have stepped in sooner. Natalie? Complete radio silence after the party. Then, about 3 weeks ago, I got a LinkedIn message from someone I didn't know, a woman named Jennifer around my age. The message: "You don't know me, but I dated Natalie's ex-boyfriend before you. She told you she'd been single for 6 months before you met, right? She wasn't. She was engaged to Kyle. Same thing happened. She demanded he put her name on his condo and his investment accounts before the wedding. When he refused, she called it off and tried to claim she'd contributed to his assets during their relationship. He had to threaten legal action to get her to back off. I'm sorry this happened to you. Just wanted you to know it's a pattern." I thanked her, forwarded it to Kevin. "Good to know," Kevin said. If she ever tries anything else, this establishes a pattern of behavior. Save it. As for the $7,000 Natalie's parents contributed, Frank asked for it back through his divorce attorney. Said Diane had used their joint savings without his knowledge, specifically for the wedding contribution as part of her scheme to entangle Natalie in my finances. Since there was no wedding, he wanted reimbursement. I sent him $7,000. Not because I legally had to, gifts are gifts, but because Frank got screwed by Diane as much as I almost did. Seemed fair. My Independence Day party became legendary among my friend group. People still bring it up. My brother uses the phrase Whitmore Independence Day whenever someone escapes a bad relationship. The venue coordinator sent me a thank you note. Apparently, my event was drama-free once Diane got arrested, and everyone tipped really well. They said I was welcome back any time. I sold my house last month, not because of Natalie. I'd been considering downsizing anyway. Bought a smaller place closer to work, fresh start, dating, not yet. Trust issues are real. My therapist says I'm handling things well, but need time to process the betrayal. She's right. The weirdest part? I don't regret any of it. Not the party, not the police report, not the financial boundaries I held. Could I have handled things differently? Maybe. Could I have just given in to keep the peace? Sure. But here's what I learned. When someone shows you they value your assets more than your partnership, believe them. When someone's willing to commit fraud to access your finances, you don't compromise with them. You protect yourself and run. The entitlement was staggering. Natalie genuinely believed that being engaged entitled her to ownership of everything I'd built before we even met. Diane genuinely believed that forging legal documents was acceptable if it benefited her daughter. The delusion was almost impressive. But reality doesn't care about entitlement. Courts don't care about, but we were in love. Banks don't care about, but we were getting married. The law is the law, and fraud is fraud, regardless of motivation. I lost $15,000 in venue deposits. Technically, I got the party, so did I really lose it? Spent $3,800 on legal fees, got reimbursed. Lost 2 years with someone who turned out to be running a long con. But I kept my house, kept my business stake, kept my financial security, kept my dignity. Natalie kept nothing except a reputation as someone who demands her fiancé's assets before marriage. Diane kept a criminal record and a divorce. Frank kept his self-respect by finally standing up to his wife. The revenge wasn't elaborate. It was just boundaries. Hard, immovable boundaries enforced by law and common sense. Sometimes the best revenge is just refusing to be a victim. And throwing a really good party with the money they thought they were entitled to, that's just a bonus.